Hello everybody, this is Jake Juicy Kim, once again here to bring you a video of this world called VRChat Drama Court. Now, I understand that this world has become very popular to the public as it is, but what's obviously surprising or not surprising as it is that many people don't know how this court system work. Actually, this world is actually made by Chuck in case you don't know, so let's just get right on it. Okay, now, many of these people doesn't know how it work, and so I'm gonna teach you guys basically how prosecution and defense basically work in this system, where in VR chat the laws of US and most laws and internationally kind of merge together into this game at this point. Now, the order goes as follows basically. So if you look right here, this is the prosecution. The prosecution is basically those who are accusing that the defendant, which is the one who's getting charged. This is related to like whatever court that is. It's just based to like uh the U.S. court basically. So we're just gonna be following that system from now on. Like I said before, the prosecution will go first on their opening statement. So that means they're basically stating what happened at the incident. The prosecutor, the litigator, basically accuses the defendant, the person in the case usually, what happened, what's going on, blah blah blah. He's guilty and such. We provide evidence to prove that without a shadow of doubt that this person is guilty and is the criminal of that such charge, whatever. Okay, that is the prosecution right there too. Usually defense has an option of withholding their statement until prosecution brings evidence, or they can state it immediately right after, depending on what the situation is. Usually, most commonly, defense would withhold statements as it is, so they would just move on right back to prosecution. Prosecution brings evidences now because this is not real life. They don't have any evidences of like actual evidences in their pockets as it is. They are required to make up evidences, and pieces of evidences are made, and so pieces as in like what evidence have they gotten to basically prove and reinforce their statement that the defendant did cause this incident and whatnot. Okay, so they are usually provided by three pieces of evidences, which is gonna be like any kind of like physical evidence, a knife, a gun, or then like if that, or a document, which is like a proof of ownership, forensic report, police report, whatever the case is. They actually added these two rooms, the evidence room right there, and another evidence is right there too. That one's the physical, that one is the documents right there too. Okay, so prosecution brings three pieces of evidence forward. As they present this out, the defense has every right to object to any of these documents right here before they get submitted to record. For let's say any form of objection will be like relevance. How is it related to the case? Speculation or hearsay. Hearsay basically meaning is out of court, meaning that it is a third party person that is not in court with us today. Basically stating that if that person is not here in court with us today, that means that their voice cannot be basically proven to testify that on a written note basically. So if your voice is not heard, it's technically in that matter not true. That's hearsay. Speculation is basically in your own opinion. So if you're not an expert witness, you're not allowed to speculate or be able to give your own opinion on the thoughts of whatever grounds there is. Another would be lack of foundation, which means that there's no time and date set it, no location, not even the name of the witness itself. So that's all within foundation. Foundation meaning who that person is, what their job is, where they were, basically the past of the story itself. Now, once the prosecution is done, we move on to the defense. The defense will give their opening statement. If they withhold it, they will provide evidences to back up their claim to the defendant right there, and basically just explanatory. They're basically defending the defendant. They're trying to prove that the defendant is not guilty of all circumstances, and they're trying to prove that under the charges that which prosecution has provided, the defense would just basically prove that he did not do it or he was not there. He did something else. Whatever the case is, doesn't matter. It's your creativity in here in VRChat Drama Court, but you have to make sure you defend your defendant right there too. Defense also brings three pieces of evidences, whatever the case is, blah blah blah, same thing. Prosecution has every right to object to that, and is if anything else goes smoothly as it is, then we move on to witness testimony. So everyone here from the jury, I'm gonna move right here. You see right here from the benches that these will be the jury members. So the jury members have every right to come up and give a little bit of a brief understanding to what the case is, mainly because some of the people obviously they have heard through the whole case, and the fact that some of them might be late, or some of them might be coming a little bit in the middle of the session, you know. So they are given a little bit of a opportunity to brief. They go into the evidence room to talk about it, and basically just question what they need to be questioned about. And once that questioning is done, let's say for example, prosecution goes first. Prosecution comes up their first witness. That is it. They direct examine, and they direct question their first witness as is. But first, you have to swear in. The swearing on this is as follows. You have to say it. Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God, under perjury. And basically, they say yes. They should say yes. Okay, this is VRChat Drama Court. Obviously, they're not gonna say no. But yeah, they're sworn in. They're basically stating what they need to state. But first things first, for lack of foundation, so that you don't get hit by that, is by saying the first question: state your name and occupation. State your name and occupation, meaning who are you and what is your job? Where do you work and on to? They state that, and then the story goes on. Now, there are a little bit of like skill required to learn about questioning somebody. There are different objections of which to can be held against you, aka one could be leading. Leading basically means you are asking them a question that could direct them to the truth, or ask them to the answer itself. So let's say, is it true that you did this? That's leading. And basically they kind of say yes or no basically. But under any kind of circumstances, you have to ask them a who, what, when, where, why question, so that they kind of explain in their own story as it is. And now speculation is as follows. So you can say like, oh, I've been to that place many times. I think it's really great. Speculation. Why? Because that's their opinion, not what the case is about. Basically, in this case, not what the case is about, but not what this case is basic opinionated about. And there's also a case of relevance, like I mentioned about, like, oh, I think it's great. Irrelevance. How is that related to the case at hand? Another one will be compound, which means multiple questions at once. Who is she? How old is she? Where is she? That's compound. All within that one question or one statement as it is. That is compound. You should not say that. You should ask one question at a time to not berate the witness, especially towards cross-examination. If you're cross-examination, like say for example, prosecutions done with their witness, defense has every right to cross-examine, which means to basically question them and to kind of like critique their lifestyle, as critique their questioning, their story as it is. Not lifestyle, I'm sorry. And last but not least, there's also I believe is argumentative. Argumentative. So basically, you basically argue on a fact that this will be very much argued upon, that they would just jump right to conclusion. This is also known as prejudicial, meaning like, so you are sure that, basically it's like saying this too. Would you also believe that this killing somebody is wrong? They would say obviously yes. That's argumentative, because in this case, somebody with a like VRChat here, like I said, a new law will pass out. Murder is legal, kind of thing, So that's argumentative. People would just say that there's no evidence presented from the opposite side, saying that this is a very argumentative on this matter. So blah blah blah. Once it's done, same thing goes to defense. Defense has every right to question them, question their witness, and then prosecution has every right to cross-examine. And therefore, closing statements, prosecution goes first. They conclude what is the end result and what did they find. The defense also gives their closing statement if they are confident in what they believe that is sufficient enough, or not even sufficient enough, that this actually is concrete enough to prove the defendant did cause this crime or one not. And the judge would then go for a verdict: not guilty, or liable or not liable. The guilty or not verdict and guilty and not guilty verdict versus the liable and not liable verdict both relate to criminal and civil cases. So if you are in a civil case, you are to say not liable for not guilty and liable for guilty. Now, if you are to say in a criminal case, obviously guilty and not guilty. So that's it basically for VRChat Drama Court. Same thing that's gonna be for Udon Court. So if you don't know about the Udon Court, you can basically use this tactic also, but this method will be used differently on that world instead of this world. So this world will be more like practice trial, like superior court, like district courts, like in your city and whatnot. Meanwhile, the Udon court will be basically into superior court, which is your district court and whatnot, up to Supreme Court as it is. So thank you guys for watching this. I hope you guys like this, and I will end this with a goodbye. Thank you.